What's going on, guys? It's Danny here and we're going to do Blackwing Lair. It's finally time for a bit of PvE. I took a while with this video because, you know, the ranking to 14 and then PvPing and enjoying the rank 14 gear. And then a Rathin Basin came out and yeah. But you guys liked a lot the way I did Molten Core and Onyxia in the beginning of Classic release. So I'm gonna do this one the same way. I will have my VOD from the stream and I'm speaking over it. So I can explain what I'm doing from my position, so you guys can see the gameplay of the boss. If you don't play the game, you see the raid, and at the same time, if you do play and you haven't done Blackwing Lair yet, maybe you will know what you will run into. As a healer in general or as a priest specifically, I'll be saying what I have to do on each boss and positioning and all that stuff.
5, 4, 3, 2.
So the first boss is Razorgore. This is very easy boss. On the top left up there on the ramp there are elites that we have to kill first really fast. And then the tanks can take control, or some of the melees as well do it sometimes. Take control of the orb where they control the boss. So we control the boss and destroy all the eggs that you see in the room. The priest said it. Spam flash heal if you have to. Don't let anybody die. World buffs are so important to keep for a faster and easier clear. So the tank is controlling the boss and he has, you know, when you control, you have the abilities of the boss, and one of the abilities to destroy the eggs. So there is the boss jumping in the middle, destroying eggs. And there are basically ads coming out, dragons and orcs, elites coming out of each corner of the room. So we have distributed, you know, tanks and DPS on each corner to take care of the ads. Me as a healer specifically here, I stay in the middle. You will be assigned to either be in one of the corners with the tank, with a specific tank, or like me, I stay in the middle and I just heal everyone that I see who loses HP. After, in between the elite pools, you have time to drink. Yeah, one reason I said here, if you have to just keep every single one alive. If someone DPS takes a aggro of a mob, then spam a little bit of flash heal if you have to, because you do have time to drink. You drop combat here after between the elite spawns from the 4 corners of the room. And it's pretty much like that in the whole phase 1, so we can fast forward or completely skip until the boss comes out. It's just that there is a lot of eggs to destroy and it takes its time. But right here, phase 2, after all the eggs are destroyed, the boss comes and we have to kill the boss. He does 2 things here. One is fireball volley, so we position here. Everyone does it the same way, the same positioning. The person marked with a square, you can see on the right side, the blue square. This is where we would LOS on that pillar, because the fireball volley is AoE and it affects the whole raid. In this fight he tried to do it but didn't even finish casting it, so I'm not 100% sure how it... Maybe it was LOS, I don't know. And also you have 2 tanks, so heal the main tank, and this boss does like the last boss in UBRS, where he puts conflagration on one of the tanks, disorients them for 10 seconds, and then he goes to the second person in highest aggro. So ideally, that's the off tank. The DPS are ideally watching their aggro, you know. So you just pay attention on healing people, the main tank, the off tank, and whoever takes damage from the raid. The boss is dead, by the way. That was like, I don't know, 10 seconds kill. The second boss, Vaelastrasz, like every other dragon, in the front he does cleave and breath, and on the back he has tail sweep, so that's why we're positioned right here on the right side. Before the combat begins, we pre-shield rogues and other people from the raid, casters, because the boss constantly does Fire Nova and everyone constantly takes AoE damage. There is 2 really big things about this boss. Essence of the Red, which is applied to everybody as soon as the boss starts. It gives you infinite mana pretty much as a caster, infinite energy as a rogue, and as a warrior, infinite rage. So you can do as much healing and DPS as you can, and that's basically the goal, to kill this dragon as fast as possible. Because of the second important thing, burning adrenaline. Every 15 seconds the boss puts the debuff burning adrenaline to someone, and it gives them more damage and instant cast on spells, but they will die. And every 45 seconds he puts it on the tank instead, or the people with highest threat. So it's very important to just give it all you've got and kill this boss as soon as you can. My bad here, I didn't have the boss targeted, but it starts with 30% HP. So after only 10%, it's into execute range, so warriors can do a ton of damage there. Holy shit, what the fuck? What the... That was actually pretty funny. We killed the boss, and if you watched on the left side, there was a frostbolt that finished the boss. We all died, and at the same time the boss died with one of the mages shooting a frostbolt right before he died. That was basically an aggro, one of the DPS. You do pull insane DPS. You can see on the damage meter, the top 7 are all above 1200 damage per second. But watching the aggro is pretty important, so you need to make sure you don't take aggro and then make the boss face the raid, and one fire breath, goodbye everybody. I forgot to mention in the beginning, but I'm raiding with discipline spec with power infusion, so I'm giving PI to one of the mages on every fight. And here is the next boss, Broodlord. He has a few things to care about. The most important one for healers, Mortal Strike. So very important to try to predict, if possible, with a huge heal like a max rank greater heal. Try to predict an incoming Mortal Strike and heal the main tank, or spam some flash heal. Just do your absolute best to keep people alive. There is the Mortal Strike right now on the main tank. Boss mode, another Mortal Strike. So that's the biggest greater heal I have. I'm casting on him. That right there, where everybody went flying for a second, that's a blast wave. The boss does it on the melees. That's why we ranged and healers are all the way here on this wall, so that we don't get blast waved. It only happens at melee range, so normally the shamans take care with their AoE healing of the melees. Here the priest is the most important for us to focus on healing the single target, which is the tank with Mortal Strike. This boss has a knockaway ability as well, which reduces the threat by 50%. So it's pretty likely that other warrior will take aggro. So just as a healer, pay attention on who has aggro and try to spam heal that person with aggro. Like here we are losing it a lot. He does the knockaway, reduces aggro of the main tank, someone of the DPS takes aggro, and it was a little bit of a disaster, but we managed to do it. It went alright. Kind of. Before continuing, this is an item, Onyxia's Scale Cloak, that everybody in the raid must have, especially later on for Nefarian, for the last boss. This is crafted by leatherworkers, so you can even find it on the auction house. Protects the wearer from being fully engulfed by Shadow Flame. Now, a few days ago I did Blackwing Lair with my rogue for the first time, and I didn't have a cloak. I forgot to buy one. I mean, I meant to say I forgot it in my bank, obviously. And I was fine, but just in case, everybody in the raid must have one. Here I would like to take a quick pause, so I don't have to pause during bosses. The next 3 bosses are the 3 dragons, and they have 3 abilities, from which 2 are the same, and each one of them has 1 unique. But the 2 that are the same are Wing Buffet is 1, which is damage to enemies in a cone in front of the boss. This is not a lot of damage, but this reduces the threat of the main tank, so that's when another tank should be ready to taunt the boss. And the main thing to pay attention here is that there will be a lot of tank swapping during the bosses. And as a priest healer that is focusing on healing tanks, we should pay attention to the communication to see who is taunting next and who is tanking, or simply just have the boss targeted and you can see the target of your target. You can see who is the boss attacking in the moment. The second ability that all three dragons have is Shadow Flame, and this is also AoE in front of the boss, but this is a huge nuke, between 4 to 5k damage. It almost can one-shot the raid if something goes wrong and the boss is facing the raid. This is when the Onyxia Scale Cloak comes into play. It says protects the wearer from fully being engulfed by Shadow Flame. So Shadow Flame, if it hits you and you don't have the Onyxia Scale Cloak equipped, apart from the 4 to 5,000 damage, you will also take a dot, and it's pretty much unhealable, you will die. The first of the three dragons is Firemaw, and his unique ability, apart from the two we just talked about, is Flame Buffet. As a healer though, most of the time we don't get Flame Buffet because the boss is positioned perfectly in a way so that we can heal the main tank and at the same time be out of the line of sight of the boss, and this way we prevent the healers from getting the Flame Buffet. The Flame Buffet happens to everyone who is in line of sight of the boss. You can see it on the raid frame, all the DPS and the tanks are getting it. It's a stackable debuff that does a lot of damage, so simply after 7 or 8 stacks, they go behind the wall, the buff expires, and back to DPSing. A mouse over healing the tank. Targeting the boss and the target of my target, the tank. Mouse over healing right there. I guess this would be the perfect time to mention that I'm mouse over healing, since I just said it in game. I don't use any healing add-ons. I have healing mouse over macros on my abilities. Also, I use it for dispelling and for power word shields. Greater heal, by the way. I just heal whatever I'm mouse overing, so I can do that through the raid frame or putting my cursor on the target of my target like I was doing, or simply like physically on top of people's character in game. Where are those amelies? Sometimes I go out like this and I take a couple of debuffs to heal them off tank when they are swapping tank from the wing buffet. Or if I really feel like it's necessary to heal some of the melees. But as a priest, we are assigned to mainly heal tanks. You can constantly see the yellow chain heals from the shamans. They take the shamans take really good care of the AoE healing with chain healing. As a priest here, we are tank healers. There comes our second dragon boss, Ebonroc, and this is where we can shine in heals a little bit. This is where the top 4 of the healing meter will not be shamans only, because there is not as much AoE healing to do as on the Firemaw. PI for you. PI for you. PI for everybody. No, only for you. Shadow of Ebonroc is Ebonroc's unique ability. Shadow of Ebonroc makes it so that the tank that he casts it on, if the boss hits that tank with the Shadow of Ebonroc debuff, the boss will heal for 25,000. So there should be another tank ready to immediately taunt the boss. Demonic rune. This might be a little bit of a longer fight, so try not to over spam flash heal as well. You might go a little crazy here trying to heal 3 tanks at the same time, because remember the wing buffet as well? It reduces aggro, another tank has to taunt it. On top of that, on this one we have Shadow of Ebonroc. The boss should not hit the tank with the debuff or he will heal for 25k. So another tank once again ready to taunt it. But it's a fun boss though, I have to say, for healing. Good time to practice precasting of heals. Precasting heals is something that will make me a lot better healer. Doing it properly though, what I mean. Precasting really big heals. Boss is dead though. I didn't do bad actually. But when I get better at precasting, my heals are landing so late. I will heal much better. Someone always heals before me, that's the thing. And the other healers, the other priests, they are experienced. Very experienced. Like my targets always get healed. Like 0.1 second before my heal lands, my target gets healed. The 6th boss in Blackwing Lair and the last of the 3 dragons, Flamegor, his unique ability is Frenzy. Frenzy mode means he starts casting Fire Novas. You can see the Fire Novas right now around the boss. Okay, let's shield here. Hunters can use their tranquilizing shot to remove the Frenzy mode, and the boss will not be casting Fire Novas. A lot of mana though. God damn. But we only had Hunter this time, so... one Hunter I mean. So Tranquilizing Shot has a bit of a long cooldown, 20 seconds I believe it was. And also I'm not sure if it can resist or not. Someone is Prayer of Healing our group. So the boss was doing a lot of gonna heal raid a little Fire Novas. But yeah, normally Hunters with Tranquilizing Shot remove the Frenzy effect. And this boss is pretty simple. Shamans once again with the AoE heals here because of the Fire Novas. They heal a lot. As a priest we are mainly assigned to focus on healing tanks. But something really useful to do as a priest on this boss if you have spare mana is to shield. And the shield will absorb a lot of the damage of the Novas. Shield the melees, the rogues I mean, shield some of the casters as well, if you've got mana. If you've got mana consumables as well. The 7th boss, Chromaggus. I will have the video muted here for a little bit since I spoke a lot during the boss and I don't want to have 2 voices confusing all the time. If we want to explain the whole boss, there is a ton to explain here, so let's just focus on our part only. This is the healer and specifically priest perspective. So I was the priest assigned to dispel. It was me and one more priest dispelling. Mana, if I have mana for heals, sure. Sometimes I can help healing. My main job was to dispel though. There are different afflictions that the boss puts. Some are poisons, some are curses. As a priest, we dispel the affliction blue. You can see on the raid frames right now. Blue, head of the dragon, which is magic dispel. And the red one, which is a disease dispel. The blue one drains mana and also reduces casting speed. And the disease, the red one, does damage. Both extremely important to dispel immediately. My positioning is going between 2 points. Right here where I am right now, I can reach everybody to dispel. But every time there is a breath, which is every 15 or 10 seconds, we will hug the left on the wall to avoid the breath. So, right now, hugging the wall, breath. There it is. Bronze affliction on me. This is the only affliction that no one can dispel. This is the bronze affliction periodically stuns you, and this one you dispel it with sand. The sand is dropped by trash mobs in Blackwing Lair. So here we are in the good position where we can reach everybody with dispels. And when the breath happens, we hide on the wall on the left. The melee, you can see like through the wall the purple and the green marks where they are hiding. They have their corner out there on the left side where they can hide as well to avoid the breath. Okay, breath. The main thing I do on this boss is dispelling. Not healing very much because we have assignments. My main job is to dispel, then I heal if I have mana and stuff. That's a breath here. He's almost dead. Disease. Another disease. Okay, someone else is really good at dispelling as well. I mean, we're 3 priests dispelling, so nice. I didn't do as well as previous times though. Let me see from the priests. Okay, we are 2 priests with 19 dispels. And the final fight, the last boss in Blackwing Lair, Nefarian. He has 2 stages. The first one, he's a human and he casts shadow balls to people. They are very easy to heal though. Shadow protection buff from the priests is useful here. Or a shadow protection potion, but there isn't much damage, it can be healed. Also, we are split in 2 groups and there are mobs coming out of the tunnels. You can see in front of us, the mobs barely do any damage and they are very easy to kill. Stage 2 is about to start now, and the boss will land. Onyxia Scale Cloak, by the way, on Nefarian. Come here, mate. Oh, because... You saw that? Onyxia Scale Cloak, by the way? 2 people didn't have it equipped and they died. The 3 dragons from earlier and Onyxia, and sorry, Nefarian, you have to equip the Onyxia Scale Cloak. Otherwise you die as soon as he lands in stage 2 and there is no loot for you. Nefarian is actually a really fun fight, I love it. And there is a couple things to deal with. The class calls, the fears like in Onyxia. Every class call is different effect, different thing. Yeah. On the priest class call we don't heal. Okay. Yeah, I just accidentally finished one heal as soon as the priest class call happened. Because instead of heal, what you give the tank is damage over time debuff. So you can see there is a debuff on me, that's the priest class call, and during the priest class call, every direct heal gives... We can do shields though. A debuff instead of a heal. We can do renew and shields, but no direct heals, because those will damage instead. The next class call is happening right now. That is the druid class call, which forces the druids to be in cat form and they can't do anything about it. So that's one less healer or 2, depends how many healing druids you have. They are also decursing, so mages have to take over in the decursing. It's true, I forgot. The fear can be outranged. It's like exactly. The second boss, the dog boss in Molten Core. We can stand far away where our heals are enough range to heal the tank, but at the same time we are out of the
heal a lot more.
Fear.
Warrior Call makes them take more damage.
You see where the other healers are behind me? That's where we will outrange the fear. By the way, Warrior class call right now. It forces them to be in berserking stance, which means they take more damage, so pay attention to the tanks. Thankfully there is no tank swapping to go crazy, healing 2 or 3 tanks at the same time like in previous bosses.
Yeah,
Nefarian,
nice.
You only heal 1 tank on Nefarian. Mage class call.
Mage call, that means everybody gets sheeped, so we dispel sheeps.
The mage class call is funny. Nefarian just makes the mages
sheep start sheeping all of our raid, pretty much, when it's mage call.
The mages just start sheeping everybody.
Dispel.
So as a priest, we dispel that. Next class call, shaman, totems. The boss just puts totems.
Shaman call, which basically puts a bunch of totems.
And the DPS have to focus the totems instead.
Kill the totems. Kill the totems. Ignore boss, kill totems.
Forgot the fear. Thankfully I'm an undead. And I
Not
have
in
Will
the
of the
range where I
Forsaken
can
for the
outrange.
fear.
And that's the Warlock call.
Warlock class call.
Summons Infernos.
Yep. A bunch of Infernos we have to kill. Stage
Gonna
3.
take a Demonic Rune here.
Stage 3 pretty much is the same, but there are a bunch of ads spawning from the left side. You can see if you look at the left right now, they are being AoE'd. I didn't turn my camera because I'm too focused on healing here. But there is a bunch of ads that spawn, kill them, and back to the boss.
Really now?
Watch your aggro! GG anyway. GG. We got tier 2 priest chest again. I already have it, but yeah. Tier 2 chest. Nice flex, but okay. I mean, weird flex, but okay. I already have it. Yeah, cool. I'm 6 out of 8 tier 2, by the way, right now. Weird flex, but okay, Danny. I'm soon gonna be 8 out of 8 tier 2 with my rank 14 healing mace. Oof. I'm gonna heal like a beast. And that's it. Blackwing Lair is done. 8 bosses though. Blackwing Lair has 8 bosses. Molten Core has 10. I already kinda want more raids. I already want like to go to AQ and stuff. But we'll get there, I guess. I'm still raiding with the same guild, Ambitions on Firemaw EU, the same guild I joined in the beginning of Classic. Fun guys, nice to play with, I like it. Hope the video was not overwhelming at times, by the way, like giving too much info. I tried to cover my part and a little bit more additionally, so you guys can get more info on the raid and the bosses. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like it if you enjoyed it, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I upload a lot of stuff in here. I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.